Hey everybody, it's Glenn back in this video with the Marvel Legends Captain America Civil War triple pack of Captain America, Iron Man, and making his Marvel Legends debut, it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe's Spider-Man. The movie encouraged us to pick a side, meanwhile one side of the packaging has Iron Man and the other Captain America, and there's the trio pictured on the packaging back. Then some brief blurb about Civil War, which I won't read because if you're watching this and you haven't seen Captain America Civil War, you're probably in the minority. So I'm going to speed through a quick look at both Cap and Iron Man. No disrespect to those two, but with Spidey being new to this set, I'm sure most of us want to cast our eyes upon him. Whereas Cap and Iron Man are both less fresh to our eyes, this Cap especially, it's essentially the fourth version of this action figure I'm now adding to my collection. So I have him in the form of the Thanos Bathwave's Age of Ultron Cap, and then going back even further to the Mandroid Bathwave Winter Soldier Cap. Yet the version from this set most directly relates to the movie Giant Man Bathwave Cap, which is on the left of the screen there, and the one from this set complements it as a battle-damaged version. And so it is, he's had some deco applied to the front to dirty up his uniform somewhat, including to the helmet there. But where I think the battle-damaged deco excels most is with his shield. It's complete with straps on its reverse so Steve can hold it, and I'm really digging the scratches and scorched effect as if it's deflected Iron Man's repulsor blasts. And speaking of Iron Man, he, like Cap, is a battle-damaged variant of his action figure from that same movie Giant Man Bathwave. Like Cap's shield, I love the paint effects again here. It's more of an invested deco than on Cap's uniform, but I guess you can do more with damage to metal armor than you can the fabric of a costume. As with Cap, I do wish some of those paint effects continued onto the backside. Without it, I picture them all laying on a conveyor belt face up while a factory worker mindlessly paints them. Takes away some of the magic, doesn't it? Plus Iron Man is even missing some of the gold paint on the back that the regular one has. Like the singularly released one, it comes with the same blast effect accessories, but wait, there's more, as it also comes with a second set of them. With these, I really like the way the orange gives way into the yellow translucence of the plastic. Cap comes with an unhelmeted interchangeable head, which, like the figure itself, is a bit been there, done that, what with coming with a number of the previous versions. And while a nice generic head sculpt with a suitable expression of heroic determination, it doesn't even accidentally look like Chris Evans. But a nice bonus to this set is the unhelmeted Tony Stark head. I do believe it is new to this set, and I really do like the likeness? Very eloquent, Glenn. Maybe it looks pinheaded on the body, what do you think? I mean, I've been positive previously about how this is the first movie Iron Man action figure to really capture the bulk of a guy wearing armor, so I can't really slam that now. And I know you probably have questions as to whether it fits on action figure A through to X, Y, and Z, but I'm gonna just try it with Chameleon, as he has a suited body, and I assume most of you just want to know if you can make a more civilian-looking Tony Stark best suited for board meetings and date night, and the answer is yes. And that makes this head an even bigger bonus than I previously considered it to be. Now it's Spidey time, and off the bat with Peter sandwiched between Cap and Iron Man, I love the scale of the set. Like I said with Iron Man's bulk, with Peter you get the same but in reverse, with his scale really communicating his teenage proportions, further still confounded in a comparison to the Space Venom Bathwave's Ultimate Spider-Man, which is the character as a teenager, and Pete's a Spidey, which reflects Peter as an adult. And with this action figure representing the third and most recent cinematic Spider-Man, here's a comparison with his two previous incarnations, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man on the left by Toy Biz, and I believe from Spider-Man 2, which in my opinion is the best of the Spider-Man movies and the bar that Spider-Man Homecoming next year will need to surpass, and on the right Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man from Amazing Spider-Man 2 and from the Ultimate Green Goblin Bathwave. Now this Civil War Spider-Man figure has come under some criticism for diverging from what we see in the movie. For instance, some line work is missing from the blue parts of the costume, and his spider chest symbol is significantly different, and not just different from the movie, different from just about every representation I've seen, where normally the top four legs point up and not down. Yet if, like me, you watch action figure reveals from San Diego Comic-Con or New York Toy Fair, you'll know often it takes 6 months to maybe even a year for a figure to go from concept and reveal to sitting on the peg so we can buy it. So it may be that Hasbro just went with whatever concept designs from the movie they were privy to at the time and later were simply too far into production to be more reactive to the final look. Something that I think affected the Legends movie Ant-Man, with his helmet appearing different to what we saw in the movie too. So that I accept, yet a stylistic choice made here I don't really like is the spider webbing. It's deeply inset into the sculpt and decoed in black, with the lines being quite wide, making them much more prominent. As such, I feel they distract and overpower, and compared to Funko's Pop, which beat the Legends version out of the gate, and while Pops have their fans and equally their detractors, they did get a nice bright red, which is something that struck me watching the movie. In contrast, the Legends version is a darker red, inheriting, I think, a dirtiness from the deco with black paint of the webbing lines. A detail they did capture is the way in the movie his eyes seem to adjust in size, much like a camera aperture, and close up in the sculpt you can see some layered sculpt around the white of the eyes to represent that function. Now looking at articulation, his head rotates side to side, he's able to look down this much, and then he's able to look up this far. At the shoulder, his arms rotate and then they move up to just slightly less than a right angle to the body. There's upper arm rotation followed by a double jointed elbow, and it's a shame, isn't it? They couldn't have painted those red pegs blue there. It's quite ugly. And then at the wrists, the hands rotate and they're also hinged, moving down and then up. Now on his opposing web shooting hand, it's also hinged, but it seems to move inwards much more than it does hinge up. Then he features waist rotation and an ab crunch, which moves really quite far forward, and it also moves quite far back, and I do like that the webbing does continue up into the interior of the joint. At the hips, disappointingly, the legs really don't move out very far, but they do move much further forward, and then they move very slightly back. There is upper leg rotation, followed by a double jointed knee. Then the feet are hinged, moving backwards, and also forward, and he has that crazy ankle rocker pivot that I love. Alas, with the limitations of his hip articulation, he's really not able to take advantage of that ankle pivot, with this being his widest stance possible, still with both feet flat on the floor. So all things considered, and if you don't own either of the Cap or Iron Man, then this set makes a great purchase to catch up on those and add Spidey to your collection. That not being the case for me, adding another of these caps represents a bit of a sting in the set's tail. However, the Iron Man is still fresh enough that it still brings a smile to my face, and the battle damage deco and of course that interchangeable head add up to making it feel significantly different and not like I'm just buying the same thing all over again. As for Spidey, the naysayers had me prepped for the worst, so I'm like, oh, actually, I like it. Sure, it doesn't represent the movie's vision entirely. In some way it's like, now stick with me here, you know, after a movie is released, the comics attempt to grab the movie's audience by then rendering the characters on the comic page in some form of their movie costume. This feels like that. The movie costume filtered back through comic art and then translated again into plastic, which is interesting to me. Yet even if you don't like this Spider-Man or just don't want to cough up for the entire set, with Disney's grubby mitts back in the mix of the forthcoming movie, this Spidey represents the calm before the storm, as this time next year there'll be no shortage of Spider-Man toys and merch for sure. It'll be everywhere. Anyway, if you're new to my videos and feel like I shortchanged Cap and Iron Man in this one, then you can click either of these videos for a more in-depth look. And now, taking some time to answer some questions. No, I don't think I'll be buying the Legends roleplay items. The price puts me off, and a life-size Cap shield will be fun to strut around the house with for a couple of days, then likely end up just gathering dust and taking up a lot of space. A Cyclops visor, however, I might go in for though. Now, the San Diego Comic-Con Legends exclusive raft set, that's more likely for me to get my hands on. I think I have a hookup with someone who is gonna try and get me it without me having to pay some serious scalper prices on eBay, so we'll see if that works out. And yes, I have. I wish I could share in your opinion though. I thought it was awful. And I'm a Melissa McCarthy fan, so it's not like her or the fact it was women got in the way. Just bad, bad, bad. But hey, I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, I just might check out Suicide Squad, not slam down my money to see a DC movie since Batman and Robin back in the 90s. So it's a pretty monumental decision to make, and reading the reviews has taken the wind out of my sails. If you've seen it and think I should, let me know. Anyway, I sure would be honoured if you could hit that thumbs up button. Go on, it'll only take a second, and I hope to see you all next time. Bye.